you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Oh, we can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wow, that was fun. So there we go. I can take up the full page. I can. So that was fun. That was fun trying to figure out what was going on. And I think it's a StreamYard Chrome issue. Because I opened up StreamYard in Microsoft Edge out of desperation because I don't use Edge for very much. And here we are. So it was a hardware conflict within Chrome, I think. Hey, Kelt, long time no see. Hi there, Dr. Von Decay. It was good to see you. You got first. Dr. Von Decay was in here first. Pammy, always good to see you. Lynn Jen, Rachel. Oh, everybody else too. Just call me Kim. Good to see you. Good to see everybody in here. Thank you for being patient with me while I put this together. So I had everything all set up. I had my playlist set up. I had my news articles set up. And I've got to start over from scratch now. Because when you reboot, all those close out, right? Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, Pammy, here we go. Salty's in here. Hey, Salty, good to see you in here too. Me and the tech issues, like it happened in the field. You guys want to hear a Thursday night confession? Today is Thursday, right? I lost track of time yesterday. A Thursday night confession. So there's how many people are watching? 22. Good. Only 22 people on this entire earth are going to hear this confession. When I went to Hooker, Oklahoma on Tuesday, which was the last day of my trip, I summoned up the courage to go into the PD's office, and I was going to record it, and I was going to record it surreptitiously. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And to be honest, I should have probably just said, like, out front, do you mind if I record this? And honestly, he was such a nice guy, he might not have. But when you know you're interviewing people and they know they're being recorded, they're not going to talk to you as organically as they would if they're not being recorded. And our conversation was not recorded in any way, shape, or form, not audio, not video. So I had to remember in my brain, I had to keep track of our conversation in my brain. And if I had known I wasn't going to record it, I probably would have taken in a notebook. But that was caused by a tech issue. Unsurprisingly. unsurprisingly, because I have a little mini audio recorder. I could have put it down on the desk right in between us and said, hey, let's have a little chat about, notes, right? What are notes? What are notes? Took pages and pages and pages of notes at the Delphi hearing and trial. And I just went to like 3 days of those. So dozens and dozens and dozens of pages. But there were a couple of dates in there that I lost track of. By the time I got out to my car and I started taking audio notes of our conversation, I had already lost track of a couple of dates. So next time I'll do better. And next time I'll know that Microsoft Edge is a valid application that I can use StreamYard. And somebody had warned me that StreamYard and Microsoft Edge don't get along, but I think we're getting along better than me and Chrome right now. Oh, 00. Hey, 007. Good to see you in here. James Bond is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. So I actually read the Ian Fleming books when I was a teenager. Not just the movies. Obviously, Sean Connery is my favorite 007 of all time, but the Ian Fleming books were pretty darn good too. So let me pull up. So, I've got to do. I've got to do my sports take, and there's actually a really big sports news story that came out of Indianapolis this week. Doggone it! And I had Google Earth pulled up with that too. Now I've got to pull Google Earth up, and it always takes like 2 minutes to get all of my bookmarks loaded up on Google Earth. So we can take a look because it's surprisingly close to a story that we covered back in April, where we reviewed some body-worn cam of an attack involving another, high-profile type of person. Not as high-profile as Mark Sanchez. I mean, he's a college quarterback, pro quarterback, and now announcer for one of the networks, I think Fox, if I remember right. I don't remember. But it's a very high-profile case, and it's going to get a lot of attention. I FOIA'd some of the documents in body-worn cam, and I was denied all of it, which is funny because the surveillance video has been released, and we're going to take a look at that here in a minute. All right, Google Earth is up. That was surprisingly fast. But there was an article that I wanted to watch, or I wanted to read through. Let's watch the first video first involving Mark Sanchez, and then I think we'll pull up the article to read, because the article has some of the details spelled out in a little more detail, so we can kind of figure out what's going on. And then I've got another video to watch over after that kind of goes into the legal aspect of it and quote unquote stand your ground in Indiana. I've been in Indiana my entire life, and I've never heard anybody make a quote unquote stand your ground defense in Indiana. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Obviously, there's castle doctrine, stand your ground. There are multiple versions of it, and maybe somebody has made that claim before, but I've never heard of it in Indiana. Oh, Carolina's in here. Hi, Carolina. Good to see you in here. Let's see. Let's watch this brief news clip, a couple minutes long, and then read the article, and then see another video of them talking about the legal aspects of this in Indiana. So that means I got to go to StreamYard. I have to share window. Is this it? I think this is it. At the stage and hit play. Here we go. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. There's no sound. Okay, maybe that's because if it's a Chrome versus Edge thing. So let me open up. Hold on. Let me remove that from remove that. Let me try opening it up in Edge, and maybe Edge to Edge will work. Maybe instead of Edge to Chrome. Sorry, guys. This technical stuff is just so much fun. All right. YouTube. Yes, YouTube is a video sharing pro. Now I got to sign in. No, I don't want a passkey. Holy cow. You're logged in. How am I logged in? I didn't. Try searching to get started. Let's see if I can remember my password. Wrong password? Oh, the second try, got it. Check my Galaxy for confirmation. Yes, it's me. Okay, now I can go to my channel. This is silly. This is silly in today's world how complicated this gets. Please let me know. So we're going to playlists. We're going to play this playlist. I swear we're going to play this playlist. Tell me as soon as possible if there's no sound. And if there's no sound, we'll read the article for sure, because it is a helpful article. All right, here we go. Share screen. Share and share alike. Sharing is caring. Add to stage and play.
Details about the stabbing of former USC quarterback and current NFL broadcaster Mark Sanchez, who is now facing serious charges. The late-night confrontation between Sanchez and a delivery driver sent both men to the hospital on Saturday.
But Sanchez is the one facing felony charges tonight. Mary Beth McDade live in Hollywood with the details. MB.
Yeah, Mike and Chair, prosecutors say that the area where this altercation occurred has several surveillance cameras, and so they have multiple angles of this incident. Now, we do want to warn you that some of the images of the injuries are hard to watch. Here's video of former NFL and USC quarterback Mark Sanchez clutching his chest after being stabbed during an altercation with a delivery truck driver in Indianapolis over the weekend. TMZ released images of the 38-year-old Fox Sports analyst being put into an ambulance and his alleged victim, 69-year-old Perry Toll, being wheeled on a gurney with a towel wrapped around his.
Okay, just real quick. So TMZ obtained images. So does that mean there's a bystander down there with their camera, and when they're done, they reach out to TMZ and say, hey, we got some video footage of this. How much will you pay us for it? Type of thing. I mean, that's kind of the way that it seems they obtained this, because I guarantee you there wasn't a TMZ reporter at Washington and whatever street in downtown Indianapolis just randomly that morning.
His head. Toll's family later released these pictures of his injuries.
The probable cause outlines kind of the initial nature of that dispute. We are literally talking about people fighting over a parking space.
Sanchez had reportedly been acting erratically and doing sprints in an alley between two hotels around 12:30 Saturday morning. According to court documents, Toll.
Wait, what? Did he just claim he was doing sprints in an alley? Is that what they just said? I got to hear that again. If he claimed to cops that he was doing sprints in an alley, that's totally a drunk athlete thing. I may have misheard it, though. Allegedly.
Saturday morning. According to court documents, Toll arrived in his delivery truck and parked it in a loading dock by one of the hotels to change out the hotel's cooking oil. The truck was blocking Sanchez's running path, so Sanchez allegedly
He claims he was doing sprints at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the truck was blocking his running path. Oh my word. You can't make this stuff up. Play.
approached Toll and told him to move his truck. The driver told police Sanchez smelled like alcohol and was slurring his speech. When Toll didn't move his truck, Sanchez apparently body slammed the driver. Toll told police he then pepper sprayed Sanchez, but Sanchez continued to attack him. So Toll pulled out a knife and stabbed Sanchez, believing Sanchez was trying to kill him. Sanchez then left the alley and sought help at a nearby bar.
Brought him inside, laid him down, and we called 911, put towels over the injuries that he had.
Sanchez, who had been in town to cover Sunday's Colts versus Raiders game, was initially arrested for several misdemeanors, but based on the level of Toll's injuries, is now facing a felony.
We have filed a felony charge, a level 5 felony of battery involving serious bodily injury, which contains a penalty of 1 to 6 years.
Toll also filed a civil lawsuit against Sanchez and his employer, Fox. Toll claims he suffered severe permanent disfigurement.
And Sanchez's brother released a statement tonight saying in part that this is deeply distressing for everyone involved, and he remains under medical care for the serious injuries that he suffered. He is focused on his recovery as the legal process continues. Sanchez has pled not guilty. For now, reporting live here in Hollywood, Mary Beth McDade. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I missed that part. Like, I've read articles and articles, and I've watched videos, and it's interesting that he's claiming he was doing sprints, and the truck that was collecting used cooking oil was in his way, so he couldn't do his sprints properly at like 1 o'clock in the morning in downtown Indianapolis. Oh my gosh. And so I'm not going to read the article. We don't, I got a late start today, so we're going to run out of time if I spend too much time on this. But I hadn't caught that part before. But so he attacked the driver. He said the driver said that he was body slammed. Then he pepper sprayed Mark Sanchez, and then Sanchez like got up in his truck, and the driver said, "You can't get up in my truck." And they went at it again, and that's when the driver got out his knife and stabbed Sanchez. And I don't think we've seen where the driver has had any charges at all. Yes, Moonlight View. Yes, I made it home. Thank you. It was a long drive, and I slept not much yesterday, but I slept well last night, which is why I can be here right now. All right, what did Kelt say that was so funny? Was he doing sprints in the alley? Yeah, we won't talk about funny prostitute names here on this channel. Although you just did sprints. Oh my word. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. He is definitely subject to a lawsuit that could generate a lot of money. They've not only sued him, but they've also sued Fox Sports, I think, which is who I think he worked for, whatever network it was. Pretty sure it was Fox. They've sued them also, which is interesting because he wasn't acting in his capacity as a broadcaster for Fox Sports when he did this thing in Indianapolis. So that's interesting. Obviously, when lawsuits are filed, like they just spattergun it, like just everywhere. They aim at anybody and everybody that could possibly have any amount of liability in this at all, because they're hoping that the insurance companies for the large corporations will settle out of court for some type of money. That's what they hope for in this. McSpunky, right? I imagine he's got something to say. Oh my goodness. So there's another little clip we're gonna play that they talk about the legal aspect of this and stand your ground. So I'm gonna play that next, just because I think it's an interesting legal
Marion County
discussion.
prosecutor.
All right, so let's add that back to the screen. And here we go.
Ryan Mears joins top story now. Mr. Prosecutor.
So you missed the part. This is Marion County prosecutor. And Indianapolis is in Marion County. It's pretty much all one corporate boundary now. It's all considered quote unquote Indianapolis. But there are smaller burbs within that, and I'm not sure how the jurisdiction overlaps. But this is the Marion County prosecutor.
Thanks so much for joining our broadcast. I appreciate that. My first question to you, when you saw the evidence, whether it be the surveillance video or what investigators brought to you, what did you think about this crime?
That it was completely unnecessary, that this was one of those situations that didn't need to occur. You have a 38-year-old former professional athlete who is alleged to be involved in a violent confrontation with a 69-year-old man, which is literally over a parking spot. And under those circumstances, no one should walk away with serious injuries, yet that's what we're dealing with.
Hold on. It wasn't over a parking spot because it was in the alley. So if you know anything about restaurants in urban areas, they have their used oil collection dumpsters in the back, separate from their trash dumpsters, but they're both back there somewhere in the alley. So he drives his truck through the alleys every night and collects whatever used oil from whatever restaurants he has contracts with, and then he goes and recycles it or sells it to somebody else who recycles it. So it's a free market business, and it's not over a parking spot. You don't park in alleys at all, ever. You park off of the alleys. Sometimes there are parking spots back there, but this isn't over a parking spot, Mr. Prosecutor.
You know, you look at the injuries of the victim in this case, the 69-year-old man you mentioned. I mean, they look pretty severe. There's a gash to the face. There's a neck brace. What is your understanding of how this person is doing tonight?
Well, unfortunately, this person sustained very significant injuries as a result of this incident. And that's why we made the decision to file the charges today, because it needed to reflect the seriousness of what took place. This individual is dealing with not only significant pain, but also very likely facing the potential of having to.
Okay, so the pictures we're seeing right now, these are of Mr. Sanchez. These are of Mark Sanchez in the hospital after getting stabbed and sliced by the guy who was defending himself in the alley after being attacked by Mr. Sanchez. So this is not the 69-year-old guy. I'm pretty sure these aren't pictures of the 69-year-old guy, but maybe they are. They don't say who they are of. Now you've got me wondering. Is that Mark Sanchez or is that the 69-year-old man? That looks more a little younger than 69 years old. Chest, skin, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Deal with permanent scarring on their body, and fortunately we've been able to reach out to him. That he's in good spirits and he's progressing, but he's progressing very slowly.
Now you have me wondering, who are these pictures of?
Going to stay with him the rest of his life.
So I don't know if there are stand your ground laws in Indianapolis. I'm not familiar with it. I'm sure you can educate us. But is this one of those cases where the 69-year-old man was in fear of his life, and that's why he stabbed Mark Sanchez? Is that your understanding?
Well, that's currently the allegations. And Indiana has some of the most robust self-defense laws in the entire country. And when you talk about stand your ground, it means you have no duty to retreat.
Okay, so people are saying those are pictures of the older man. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Hellcat, no, I'm not in Oklahoma anymore. I got back yesterday morning after three and a half days there. Thank you for asking. And I did survive my trip, but that's probably not my last trip out to the Panhandle in this case. But anyway, Thank you for clearing that up. These are pictures of the older man.
And so a central theme of this case is going to be the application of Indiana's self-defense laws to exactly what took place. Certainly, it's our perspective at this point in time, based on the allegations that have been submitted to us, that our victim was acting in self-defense and that his actions were supported by the Indiana self-defense law, which is why we made the charging decision that we made.
What's your understanding of Mark Sanchez's condition here? Was he intoxicated? Do you know that for sure?
Well, one of the allegations is that he was intoxicated. He has been charged with public intoxication. One of the things that we're going to do as we move forward with this investigation is obviously we're very interested in what the toxicology reports may reveal. That's certainly protected medical history. And so we're going to work with investigators to try to gather as much information as possible so we can have a complete picture of what took place.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, what is your understanding and what can you share with our viewers as far as what happened before the incident, the altercation, if you will? There's been some reporting that Mark Sanchez was doing wind sprints in the alley where the 69-year-old delivery driver was parked. Is that your understanding?
Well, the good thing about this case is that there is surveillance footage all up and down that alley. And so we do have a pretty clear picture of what took place. The allegations are currently that this is where the confrontation took place, was inside that alley. Certainly, you do see Mr. Sanchez running at times before he makes contact with the victim in this case.
Do you have any idea why he was running that late at night?
Not sure why he was running that.
You see the look on his face? He's like as cracked up about that as I am. I'm not sure why he was out running in the alley at that hour of night. Well, you got to watch that again. Watch his face. He's doing his best not to crack up, and I can't not crack up.
He was running that late at night?
I'm not sure why he was running that late at night, and certainly not sure as to why there was a dispute over a parking spot when, again, this individual was just trying to do their job late at night, trying to fulfill their obligations, their work obligations. Somehow it resulted in this violent confrontation.
I know you're going to follow the evidence wherever it leads you, right? But I do have to ask you, I mean, is there a chance here that Mark Sanchez felt his life was threatened?
Well, certainly people can have different perspectives based on the evidence that's available to us now at this particular point in time. We've heard the victim's perspective. We had the opportunity to review the surveillance footage, and the allegations that have been presented to us put us in a position where we felt comfortable filing the charges that we announced today.
What is next for Mark Sanchez? Where is he right now? Is he still being held behind bars? Can he bond out?
He has posted bond, and then the court will set this matter for initial hearing. Because we did increase the level of charges, it'll be reassigned to a new court, which we anticipate happening in the next day.
What was it for you that you decided to change to go from misdemeanor to felony? What did you see that caused you to do that?
It was really just a review of the medical information made available to us, and then having a follow-up conversation with the victim. When we initially made contact with the victim, it's important to note that he had not yet received medical treatment. He was actually going into the hospital, and then when we were able to have that follow-up conversation, we were able to get a more complete picture of the injuries that he suffered and also the lasting impact that these injuries are going to have on him, and that's what allowed us to be in a position to file the additional, more serious felony charges.
Is there any evidence, any testimony that Mark Sanchez tried to use his celebrity to either get out of this or to get lesser charges?
No.
And then if he is convicted, what kind of prison time could he face for this?
So on a level 5 felony in the state of Indiana, it's a range of penalty from 1 year to 6 years in the Indiana Department of Correction.
Okay. And then can you tell us a little more about the victim here? We know that he's 69 years old. He's a delivery truck driver. Do you know how roughly how tall he was? And there's also been some reporting that he uses hearing aids but didn't have them on at the time.
That is correct. One of the things that he makes reference to is that he did need the use of hearing aids. He's a 69-year-old man. He's certainly not the largest guy, and certainly his stature would be smaller than that of the other person involved in the confrontation.
Is there anything else that people should know about this case that maybe hasn't been put out there yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. Sir, we thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on and helping us out tonight. We thank you for watching.
Oh, no. We're not doing that. Oh, man, they put those in there just right at the right time. Move that from screen. Okay, so Salty sent me a picture without the entire blurred face, and it actually shows a more serious injury because they blurred out his face. You can't see the injuries to his face. So let me see if I can open that up. I had to reboot, and so I've got to redo all of my windows. Did that download where I think it downloaded? It did. All right. Let's not open it with that app. Let's open it with a different app. Open with not Adobe Acrobat. Let's open it with Photos. There we go. Let's see if that works. Back to StreamYard. What the heck? StreamYard, there you are. Add. Now I don't see that picture. Now that picture has disappeared. Let's try it one more time. Now back to StreamYard. Window. There we go. Here is a picture without the face quite so blurred out. Thank you, Salty, for that. Let me get out of the way. So let me look at this. Oh my gosh. How did he get that slash on his left cheek? Like, what did Sanchez do to him to have those, to sustain that injury? That looks like a sharp-edged instrument of some kind. Like, and I know your skin can split based on blunt force. Whew, that's nasty. That does, Salty, that does look like a sharp-edged instrument cut. That really does. Did he take the knife from him and then use it against him? Let's zoom in on that. I'm going to zoom in on that. Yeah. I guess we won't know until we see the doctor's reports exactly what that was and exactly what it was likely caused by. That's nasty, though. That's a 69-year-old man. And how old is, hold on. Alexa, how old is Mark Sanchez, former NFL quarterback?
From thespun.com. Sanchez, 38, spent time with the New York Jets, Philadelphia Eagles, Denver Broncos, Dallas Cowboys, Chicago Bears, and Washington Commanders during his NFL career.
There you go. Alexa with the answers. He's 38 years old, pummeling a 69-year-old man who was just doing his job in the middle of the night because he wanted to do sprints at like 1 o'clock in the freaking morning in the alleys in Indianapolis. My goodness. All right. So we obviously have a lot of facts to come out in that, a lot of medical reports. Hey, Zeke, see you in there now. Now I can check chat now that I got my technical difficulties taken care of. Yeah, that's a big ouchie. That is a big ouchie. Well, so here's the thing that's going to come up probably in the at least in the civil lawsuit, if not the criminal charges, is he attacked this guy, body slammed him, he got pepper sprayed, and he came back for more. So that speaks to intent. You know, that's a whole nother thing than just like, oh, dude, I lost my mind for a second and I tackled this guy because I got pissed off because his truck was in the middle of the alley where I was trying to run. And then he pepper sprayed me and I came to my senses. No, he did not come to his senses. Like, he doubled down on that, like, altercation. Oh, man. Yeah, definitely entitled. Definitely entitled. That's most athletes that go from USC to the NFL, even before they go to the NFL. I mean, that's why Reggie Bush lost his Heisman Trophy. Okay, so we're going to move on from that. Did you know that there is another Ladybird Lake going on in Texas, but not in Austin, and it's not really Ladybird Lake? And I hope I put the right ones in my playlist for this, because the similarities to what's going on in the Houston Bayou is so eerily similar to Ladybird Lake. Like, yes, yeah, you watched, right? Just Call Me Kim, right? I became aware of this because of Ping. I was watching Ping last night, and he started watching these Houston Bayou bodies in the Bayou adding up type of thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like Ladybird Lake. This is just like Ladybird Lake. The officials are saying the exact same thing. No suspicious circumstances. We don't know how they ended up in the Bayou, but there's no suspicious circumstances. So let me get to that next clip of that. Hello. Come on. All right, we're going to share this. Here we go.
Houston Bayous are back in the spotlight after another body was pulled from the water just this morning. It's the 7th in the past month. On your screen is a look at the locations where bodies have been found recently, with today's discovery marking the 7th. Our Rochelle Turner was the first reporter on scene. She's joining us live from White Oak Bayou, right along White Oak Drive and Gladys Street, with what she's learning this afternoon. Rochelle?
Well, Lisa, I can tell you that HPD confirmed there are no signs of foul play. Now, I did watch dive crews from HPD's dive team. They pulled the man's body from this water right here behind me. It took investigators only about 2 hours to process the scene, but many people who walk along these trails told me that they still feel safe, but they would like to see a little bit more presence along the bayous with the recent incidents that have happened lately.
I don't know. It's crazy. You know, when I went down the bayou, there was cops, police, ambulance, fire, rescue everywhere. Kind of thought it might be another body.
And it was. This time, a man pulled from White Oak Bayou, marking the 7th recovery in the past month and the 23rd so far this year in Harris County.
Sounds like something's going on.
Holy cow, 7 in 1 month. Like, I don't think Ladybird Lake has ever had that many. Like, did the guy get discouraged over in Austin? And he's like, man, I got to go make up for all these months I've missed. 7 in a month? There's something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on.
Leaders, including the mayor, have said there's no evidence connecting these cases or pointing to a serial killer.
For something like a serial killer to happen, there needs to be commonality between the victims. Serial killer tends to focus on a particular age, race, gender, occupation when they operate.
The mayor also mentioned that many of the victims are believed to have been experiencing homelessness. For bikers and runners who use the trails daily, the news is unsettling.
It seems like they could set up trail cameras and...
How familiar is that, or how similar is that to Ladybird Lake? Bikers and walkers, and how about they set up some more trail cams? That's exactly what they did in Austin around Ladybird Lake. The mayor said, okay, we're going to put in more lights. We're going to put in some cameras. And after they put in those lights and cameras is when I did my walkthrough the end of last November. Remember, but it was after Thanksgiving and right before the 1st of December when I was headed out to Arizona. I stopped there, and you could see how whatever lighting and cameras they put in wasn't doing a whole lot of good. I mean, there were areas that were better lit, and there were areas that were not so well lit.
Let us know either way. Am I concerned for my safety? No, but there are a lot of people who are at risk, and, they deserve to be looked after too.
HPD says it's too early to tell if foul play is involved. The medical examiner's office will make that determination. Our cameras captured homicide detectives arriving, taking photos, and speaking with witnesses. While the latest discoveries has some residents shaken, others say the growing number of cases is hard to ignore.
It's really shocking. It's terrible. I'm really sad to hear about it every day.
And right now, we're still waiting on autopsy results to determine who this man is and how he ended up in the bayou. Reporting live from the White Oak Bayou, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC 2 News.
Rochelle,
Does that not sound familiar? We're waiting to find out who he is and how he died. But for most of the Lady Bird Lake ones, immediately they said no foul play is suspected. Like, they looked over these bodies and they're like, we don't see any obvious signs of trauma. So we're going to tell everybody in our official press conferences that there is no foul play suspected before the ME report, before anything else. Like, that's what I find crazy about Lady Bird Lake. And I wonder the correlation here. Let me change my camera for just a second, or my view. There we go. So in London Valdez case, it took the state ME 90 days to produce her final autopsy and toxicology report. 90 days. So to have a police department come out immediately after a body is found and say no foul play is suspected is irresponsible at best. And I understand you want to calm the public. You don't want to raise any fears. But how do you know that no foul play is suspected when you have no evidence of that? You might look at the body over and see no obvious signs of trauma, no gunshot wounds, no knife wounds, no stab wounds, no ligature marks on the neck. You might see an absence of those things, but that cannot lead you to a conclusion that no foul play is involved. That's irresponsible. And I'm not falling for it. All right, I think there's one more here on this one.
To Texas now, in the push for more information about people found dead in different bayous around Houston. Officials say 6 bodies have been found in Houston's bayous within just 2 weeks, and records show at least 22 deaths in Houston bayous so far this year. Let's bring in CBS News national reporter Karen Waugh live for us now from Houston. Karen, understandably, many people in the city are afraid that there is someone dangerous out on the loose. Is that a theory?
What else is that similar to Lady Bird Lake? Is there a theory that there might be somebody dangerous running around Lady Bird Lake? Yes, it absolutely was among the public. The public is like, tell us what's going on. The police are like, no foul play. So the public is like, all right, we'll come up with our own theories and conspiracy theories and thoughts on the matter. And maybe we'll do our own investigation. Maybe we'll send Joe Schmoe out there along the banks of the Lady Bird Lake after midnight.
That's definitely a theory, Elizabeth, but Houston officials say that is not the case. They say these 22 deaths are not related. Officials are really trying to stop these rumors that there's a serial killer on the loose in the city. But understandably, people are afraid that violent crime is growing. You can just imagine 22 deaths in this year alone in nearby bayous. And of those 22, the medical examiner has only released the cause of death for 6 of them. The medical examiner says of those 6, 4 of them drowned, 1 suffered a cardiac arrest, and another died by suicide. And also
6, they have 6 medical examiner reports out of 22. We're looking at 6 out of 22. 4 of them drowned. Okay. That happens. And it's tragic. And the unaliving yourself, deleting yourself, that's tragic. But I wonder how they know that. Maybe we should FOIA these reports.
Of those 6, 3 were accidental, 2 involved drugs, and another involved blunt force trauma, officials say. Elizabeth?
A lot of horrible
Wait,
coincidences there, Karen. And Governor Greg Abbott.
Whoa. There's a blunt force trauma and no foul play is suspected? Whoa. Back the truck up. Right there it says blunt force trauma. We're going to hear that again. Blunt force trauma, but no foul play suspected. What the actual flip?
Elizabeth?
A lot of horrible coincidences there, Karen. And Governor Greg Abbott addressed public safety today in a press.
No, I'm going to back it up again. She said a lot of horrible coincidences. How many of us that follow true crime believe in a lot of horrible coincidences? For real? That's what they're selling? Dang. A lot of horrible coincidences. You process that. Tell me what you think about a lot of horrible coincidences being just coincidences.
Abbott addressed public safety today in a press conference. What did he have to say?
Well, Elizabeth, Governor Abbott says overall crime.
Governor Greg Abbott addressed public safety.
Accidental, 2 involved drugs, blunt force trauma, officials say. Elizabeth?
A lot of horrible coincidences there, Karen. And Governor Greg Abbott addressed public safety today in a press conference. What did he have to say?
Well, Elizabeth, Governor Abbott says overall crime is down in Houston, so that is the good news. But still, he's creating this new task force to specifically target repeat criminals, repeat offenders in the city of Houston. He did not relate this new task force to these Bayou bodies, so those do not have anything to do with each other. But he's sending a flux of Homeland Security and state troopers to swarm some neighborhoods, he says. Abbott says President Trump does not currently have any plans to send the National Guard into Texas to deal with crime like the president has done in other cities like Memphis, Portland, and Chicago. Listen.
Most violent crimes in the Houston area are committed by repeat offenders. Today, we're putting those criminals on notice. We are coming for you. We're going to target you, arrest you, and put you where you belong, which is behind bars.
Now, Governor Abbott did not address questions, did not answer questions about whether this new task force, whether this increased law enforcement presence was actually wanted or welcomed by city and county officials. Noticeably absent from the press conference today were Houston's mayor, Houston's police chief, and the Harris County sheriff. Elizabeth?
Karen,
wow. Did you hear that list of local officials that were not present at the press conference? Oh, I have so many questions. I think that may be the end of my, that's the end of my video presentations for tonight. But I do have some other things that you might like. Like I have some pictures from Oklahoma and my trip to Oklahoma. And a trip recap. So I'm not going to do any type of deep diving into the London Valdez case tonight at all because I have so much. I downloaded when I got back, and it took me a while to figure out where I could download it in a reasonable place. 13 gigabytes of audio and video files from my trip this last weekend. Carolina, the crime rate continues to rise in Houston. You know what? About the crime rate, they're saying there's no foul play suspected. So these 22 bodies in the Houston Bayou don't even count in their reporting and statistics for crime rate because they're saying it wasn't a crime. No crime was involved. So these don't count for that. Oh, these don't count for that. Do you guys want to see some pictures from my trip? Hit 1 for yes and 0 for no. I'm very binary like that. 0, you don't want to see any pictures and hear any about the trip. 1, you do. And I'm only doing that to delay because I'm going to show you pictures and I'm going to talk about the trip. But because I had to reboot my computer, it's going to take me a minute to pull this back up. It's going to take me a minute or two. And I have to use... Do I have to use... I have to use a port that I don't have. Oh, no. That's disappointing because I have one USB port, one USB-C port on my laptop, and right now my camera is using that USB-C port. So I can go off of camera and then I can copy the pictures over. Let's do that. I'm going to turn off the camera for a second and I'm going to unplug the camera and I'm going to plug in my little flash drive. Oh, wait. Look at that. It's got a regular USB port on it. That's why I bought this one. I don't have to unplug the camera. Bloop. I'm a genius like that. I'm so genius that I forget that I have a two-way USB flash drive. Linjen, I'm done. Yes, okay. Yeah, right. We got 30 minutes. We'll be good. We are good. Okay, so that's Panhandle trip pics. There we go. And it's going to start right there. What? I don't know if that's going to work or not. Let's open it up with another app. Patience, please, if you would, my friends. I'm going to open it with the Photos app, and hopefully the Photos app will work. But I'm also going to show you on the maps where all of this is going on. You want to see Toto again? I didn't include that in the playlist for tonight, Pammy. So we're going to have to include that in a later one, unless I can find a way to transfer it from laptop B to laptop A. Let's look at my trip first. Window. What happened? Okay, Google Earth Pro is still there. There we go. Share that. And add that to the stage. So first thing we're going to do is just to rehash the Mark Sanchez thing real quick, or to point out a little thing of interest in that. Get rid of that. All right, so here's downtown Indianapolis. Ohio State. Here's Washington Street. So where this happened was, can you see Washington? There, Washington Street. So it was somewhere around here on the west end of Washington Street. I'm going to take my mouse around really slow so you can see it was like in this area. It was probably this alley or this alley, probably. So there are hotels here. There's the Indianapolis Marriott. There's another hotel there. And the JW Marriott is over here off of West Street. So see if you can see where my mouse is running around that now. The JW Marriott is where the body-worn camera footage was taken that I showed back in April of the Allen County Chief Public Defender's post-attack interaction with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. So he was attacked on Maryland Street, 1 block south of Washington Street, but very, very close to where this altercation happened with Mr. Sanchez. So I just thought that was interesting. Very, very close proximity to that. But let's go to from here. So this is very similar to how my trip went. I live in Lafayette, which is about an hour north of here, northwest, to Liberal, Oklahoma. Bloop. There's Liberal, Oklahoma. The reason I went to there is because in these little towns that are around here, there aren't a lot of hotels and reasonable places to stay. So southwest of Liberal, here's Hooker, Oklahoma. So Liberal is where I stayed. Hooker is where London Valdez lived and where I went on Tuesday. And the chief of police of Hooker is who I interviewed for an hour on Tuesday. But so that's where Jose picked London up, and they went down southwest to Guyman, or no, they went out to some lake. I don't even know what lake they went to. I need to find that out, because when I do my detailed deep dive, we need to know that they went to a lake, and then they went to meet Brandon. They went to meet Brandon in Beaver, which is north of Forgan. But here are the key points of interest from the case. So Forgan, Oklahoma is where Braden's grandfather owns property. And that night on the 5th, the SUV was stuck here on this little country road. And after the SUV got stuck, and it's somewhere in this stretch, we don't know the exact coordinates, but it's somewhere in this stretch right here, and it is a sandy, gravelly dirt road. That's where the SUV got stuck with Braden and London in the truck. London goes this way south on the county road. Braden goes this way, and he gets reported over here by this farmer that lives in this house saying there's some weird guy acting weird out in front of my house. Trial TV Live. Hi, Aaron. How are you? I'm just doing a quick trip recap of my trip out to Oklahoma. So I went and I stayed in Liberal. The first night was in this really interesting hotel. So let's look at some pictures now. It's time for a slideshow. Remember the slideshows we used to have? And somebody would come back from vacation and they would play like a 40 slideshow or 100 slides or 150 slides. All right, so we'll take that away and we will present the pictures. Here we go. So this is Aaron, I'm not getting into details of the case yet. This is just a recap. This is just like an overview because I still have several producing, editing things to do before I can. So I'm planning on doing that this weekend, probably like a Saturday afternoonish type of release of my first, maybe even Sunday afternoon. Depends on how long it takes to put it together. But let me tell you, there are 2 main adult males that were involved with her disappearance and unaliving. And we're going to talk about those, and we're going to study the map that I just showed you, but in better detail, along with pictures and videos to talk about all of the intricacies of this case. Okay, so are we showing this? Yes, we're showing this. So this is in Oklahoma City, Kansas City, not Oklahoma City. Kansas City, immediately after I cross the state line. Waze has me take this right turn off of a ramp, and I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to go that way. But if you look up here, look at these cars piled up, and I'm like, what is going on here? Is there like a little bit of an accident and a big accident? There's more of it, more fun. And then I start seeing emergency vehicles coming the other direction. So you notice there are almost no cars coming the opposite direction in the other way bound lanes. All of a sudden we have emergency vehicles, and we have an emergency vehicle up here in the mid left of this photo that has all traffic blocked from continuing on the interstate that way. All right. No. Why did we escape out of that? Now I got to go back and open it back up again. You tell me. There we go. All right, got it again. More emergency vehicles. Let me expand that. Why are we not going on to the next one in this? Let me open it up with a different app so it will go from picture to picture. I appreciate your patience. Yeah, I think if I open it up in a different app, I think it will cooperate better. There we go. That's the app that will work. Thank you for your patience. I wish I had a song for that, because I would like play it 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 times a day. All right, still the same traffic jam. This is the hotel room. This I have a story about. So there's a couple of bags on my bed, but you walk in, and the first thing you notice about this motel room is the smell. And it's not horrible, but it is noticeable, and it's not pleasant. And you can see the furniture, like the desk, looks like it was bought at a 1963 estate auction. And there's the mirror that I talked about. But I walked in the room. I walked in the room and walked to the other wall and was standing there, and I heard this. And then the door, which I apparently hadn't closed entirely on its own, went and opened up. And I was like, okay. Okay. But it wasn't paranormal activity. What I realized was, because I hadn't closed the door all the way, the air conditioner that you can see, let me put that back up there. The air conditioner in the top right corner over there had an open vent to the outside. And so because I hadn't closed the door, the wind was like howling through between the door, which is behind me right here, and the air conditioner. So it was not a paranormal activity like the toilet in New Mexico, which I swear was. It was Lori trying to reach me. I swear it was. But the next pictures are going to be hard for you to see. You got to kind of like pay attention to them. But you can see this is a really, really old room. That carpeting is probably as old as the furniture. Like I swear that carpeting is probably 40 years old, which means is really, really gross. I did not walk on my bare feet on it the entire time, which lasted less than 12 hours. Okay, this is the bed sheet. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, that's the bed sheet. The bedding on top of the bed. Same thing. I just took pictures of it for documentation. Yeah. No, thank you. And yeah, I took multiple pictures. Okay, so here's the pictures of the outside of it. So it doesn't look horrible on the outside. It looks definitely like one of those old 1960s styles, one-story motels, 1950s, 1960s. But I mean, it doesn't look horrible, right? And there's some decent cars parked there. They're not like all beaters. Doesn't look horrible, but here you go. Luminol. Aaron, let me tell you how I handled those stains on the bedding here in a second. They get the most out of their rolls of toilet paper. You know how in hotels they fold them back into those triangle pieces at the end of it to be all fancy and stuff? And there's like 6 uses out of the rest of this roll of toilet paper, and they did that little fancy little triangle thing. That cracked me up. Oh my gosh. It cracked me up. They're trying so hard. They're trying so hard. We're saving pennies here. Laptop. Oh, here is a picture of what I did because of those stains on the bedding. You see the rings on the left side there. That's a shower curtain. I went into the bathroom and I took the shower curtain off of the shower rod and I laid it down on top of the bedding, and that's what I slept on. And I moved the red pillow off and I brought in my own pillow. I have a pillow with like a hypoallergenic cover on it. And that's what I used as my pillow. Oh yeah. And this is the real electric switch for the electricity. Is that not like 1960s era electrical? And none of it was upgraded. None of it was upgraded at all. Like, I really think this is original electrical. Okay, next morning wasn't bad. Pancake house, omelet, hash browns, toast. Yes, I put ketchup on them. I do that. I admit it. Okay, let's not go to that yet. So, you know what? We can go ahead and show that. We've got like 15 minutes left. I already showed you like the Google Maps version of where she's at, and where she left and where she was found. I think I'm gonna show it to you again just so you can see how rural it is. So let me get back to StreamYard. Remove that, add this. Okay, so I was in Liberal up here in the left corner. All of these pink tags down here are where what went down on June 7th went down. But this is London spot down here. I'm going to have to take a break just for a second. Can you guys please excuse me just for a second? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. It's in rural, very remote, rural Beaver County, Oklahoma. Dirt roads. Everything is a dirt road, except out here. US 270 is a paved road. Almost everything else around here is a dirt road. So it's hard to see from Google Earth, but this is a fence line, and the fence line angles over, and the fence line angles over. And right here is where she was found on June 12th. She was found by Beaver County Sheriff Scott Mitchell. And where her remains were found, they've created a memorial, which is really beautiful, and it was a beautiful moment. So I'm going to show you some pictures. I have video too that I'm going to share in my presentation over the weekend. But here is that fence corner where she was found and where they have created a memorial to her. Give me 1 second. Here we go. This is London Spot. So right here, where there's still bare earth, is actually where she was found and that they have preserved. And Mom and Grandma have put in solar lights and stones, and other people have come by and left flowers as a part of her memorial. Here's a close-up of London Spot and some flowers and some beads left for her. There's the stone. This is the county road that's right next to it. And this is a very, very critical piece, because this is the county road that people drove down for 5 days and didn't see her over here on the left. And this grass that is really, really short or non-existent over here was not there on June 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. They haven't like cut that grass down on the left side. She was right there for anybody that drove by to see her. Her clothes were over here on the right side. So she was found in 2 sets of briefs and bras, sports bras, and the rest of her clothes and her shoes were over here on the north side of this road. And somehow her clothes were here, but she was here. And the clothes were actually what Scott Mitchell found first before he found her. Like, he drove past them and he saw them in a side view mirror. And he's like, there's something noteworthy there. I'm going to do a U-turn and come back and look at them. That is a very, very critical piece of this entire puzzle. But how can a teenager's body be laying out here for 5 days and nobody see it? So you see Mom, that's Brittany right there. She's pointing off to the right. That's where London came from and where the SUV was stuck about 3/4 of a mile away. On June 7th, the SUV was stuck there, and they didn't put 2 and 2 together for 5 days after that. This is right here where she was, right by that fence post. And then we stuck around for the sunset, and it was just beautiful. Double O, you don't know this story. 007, you should know it. I've been following it since June. I've been trying to cover it since June. I've been trying to get more eyes on it. And we have more eyes on it, but we need more eyes on it, because we're going to get more eyes on it, and we're going to have more people that know it than don't know it. Just a gorgeous Oklahoma Panhandle sunset. I'm just like click as the sun's going through the clouds, and wait till you see the last picture that I have to share with you. That's Mom at her memorial. Mom lives 5 hours away, so it's really hard for her to get here to the memorial. And so this was a very impactful time for her, obviously. Okay. Check this picture out. This is a still shot of the video that I was recording of the sunset. Look at this beam of light that comes out of the clouds right down on London Spot. Is that not the most beautiful thing? Like, that makes me smile. So I hope you enjoy it too. And I hope you come back around over the weekend for my detailed deep dive about Braden and Jose and what went down June 5th, 6th, and 7th. The timeline. We're going to explore the timeline in great detail. But thank you for being here so much. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. Man, I had so many tonight. It's crazy, but we worked our way through it. I'm going to maximize that. Like, that's going to be bloop. I'm going to disappear and it's going to be all, where did the single panel go? There we go. Right there. It's just London Spot. TYO Toys, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. We're going to keep getting the word out on this, and we're going to appreciate the sunset with London as I leave you all. Hold on one second here. I got to do one thing. Sorry. All right, got it done. I'm going to go head over to Web Sleuths and drop in on their chat, and I hope you guys stick around and learn more about London's case. We're not done yet. We're not anywhere close to done yet. I learned so much over the weekend. I gained so much knowledge and saw this beautiful, beautiful sunset over London Spot. Take care, everybody. We will see you over the weekend. Bye now.
Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. If we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime.